Hello everyone, today we are going to study the chapter Cell, the Unit of Life. This is the second chapter which we are having right now, and I think this is the first according to the syllabus. Okay, so this chapter is very close to my heart, it is very easy, and this is part 1 of the chapter because this chapter is enormous. Okay, let me start. First of all, cell. The main theme of the whole chapter is about cell, right? What is this cell? So basically, when you see yourself, let me change it like this. This is your body. I'm sorry if I'm not doing it well. So this is your body. Your body has small parts which are together combined to make your whole body. So when you zoom into your hand, let's say your hand, okay, your hand, and you zoom into your hand, what you will see now, there are small pores. 1 minute. Yeah, there are small pores like this, right? And when you use an electron microscope, then you will clearly see that these small minute things which you cannot see with your naked eye, you can see them through electron microscope. Then you will see that these are living things and they only combine together to form your human body. Okay, so they are the living part. This is the important part. What is cell? Cell is the structural and functional unit of all living beings. Now what does this mean? Structural and functional unit of all living beings. So this is your body, as I had told you earlier. This is your body, and this body is made up of millions of cells, okay, millions of billions of cells, right? Now these cells form your structure of the body, didn't it? It formed the structure of your body, it formed the structure of my body. So these are the structural unit, means the smallest unit that make up the structure of our body. And then the functional unit. What does it mean by functional unit? Functional unit simply means that whatever function you perform, as if you are picking up this book, okay, this book you are picking up, so the function which you are performing, okay, it is help, you are picking it up with the help of your nervous system, you are picking it up with the help of your muscles, bones. So these all functions are being performed by cell only. So they are the fundamental unit, they are the smallest basic unit which helps us to perform a function, and they form a structure. Okay, every organ in our body, right, like the heart, let me change the color, like the heart, and then the stomach, all the art is not good, but I'm saying the heart, the stomach, the lungs, all of them are made up of cells only. Okay, so they perform the basic structural and functional unit. Okay, every cell has its own life. Now you don't have to assume that this cell is when they are combined with other cell then they form a life. No, each and every individual, even the individual cell, has its own life, right, has its own ways. So now these perform separately for their life, and when they combine together they form a human being, okay, or any living organism, right? Let me go ahead over here. Cells are so small, microscopic, that they cannot be seen with the naked eye. Now try looking at your hand. Okay, try looking at your hand over here. This is your hand, presume this is your hand, and now try looking over it. Can you see like these type of structures? Can you see anything like this? I don't think so. Not you, neither can I see any of the structure inside my hand, any cell, because they are so small, they are so microscopic that we cannot see, and no human being can see them. Okay, and it is even hard for simple microscopes to see them. But there are few microscopes which help us to study inside, even the inside of these cells, like the electron microscope. It is the strongest microscope which will help us study the internal structure of a cell. Okay, now this is the important and more necessary part. Everything else which we were doing was not so important. Let me come back. Yeah, now let us study about Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Now Antony van Leeuwenhoek, he was a ordinary public official, right? He was not a biologist or any kind of scientist. No, he was just a normal public official who had the hobby of making microscope and making microscope observations. So it was his hobby to do so, right? Now it was his hobby to do so. He had built almost like 400 of microscopes. Okay, now his microscopes were called simple microscope. Simple microscope. Okay, so what does it mean by simple microscope, and how is it different from the microscope which we are going to study later, that is compound microscope? Now it had only one single biconvex lens. I hope you know what is convex. So this is convex. So two convex lenses were joined together like this. Two convex lenses were joined together, and these lenses were used in his microscope. Now the magnifying power was only 200 times the size of an object, right? Like if I zoom into this book, or my palm only, let's take my palm only, let's not confuse you with anything else. If I zoom into my palm only, what I will see are some kind of spores, but I will not be able to see the internal structure or even a better view of my hand, right? Now we have studied about this. This is how it looked like. This here were the lenses, and these lenses were like this, as I just told you. Screw was used for adjustment, and this is what it looked like from the back, and this is from the front. This was made by Antony van Leeuwenhoek. Okay, now after that we have a really important person which we need to remember, that is Robert Hooke. Who was Robert Hooke? Robert Hooke, he was an English scientist. Okay, he was a scientist, and Antony van Leeuwenhoek was a normal public official, right? Now he made compound microscopes. Okay, the next page only I'm teaching you over here. So he made compound microscopes. Okay, his microscopes were something like 1 minute. It was something like this, and had a body like this with a funnel kind of thing like this, and it was on a stand. Okay, now lamps were used. Now let me explain you what I'm doing over here, because it is getting chaotic. So basically what I'm trying to do, let's come over here. Yeah, Robert Hooke. Now what did Robert Hooke do? Now Robert Hooke, he made a compound microscope. Okay, compound microscope. How is it different from the simple microscope which Antony made? It had two lenses. Okay, two concave lenses. It had two concave lenses. Okay, it did not have two convex lenses, it had two concave lenses, right? So it had two concave lenses, and a light was thrown from the oil from an oil frame which was thrown by a concave mirror. Okay, So there were two lenses, and the light was thrown to magnify into the thing. Now, what did Hook do? He examined a thin slice of cork. Okay, this is cork, a part of tree. Okay, now this cork was dead. Okay, he did not know that at the time, and he observed it under his compound microscope. Now, observing it under his compound microscope, he saw these hexagonal box. Okay, these hexagonal box, and they look like the beehive. Okay, they were box like compartment, and they look like a beehive. This reminded him directly to the monasteries, rooms of the monasteries. I hope you know what are monasteries. So a monastery is a place where monks and nuns live. Okay, so it reminded him of a single room which was termed as a cell of monastery. It reminded him of that, so therefore he named these structures which he observed in that thin slice of cork as cell. Hence the name is still going on as cell. So the name discovery, this is very important, this can come in your examination, that what did who did the discovery, who gave the name to the term cell. Okay, so it was Robert Hooke. And how did he give? He examined a thin slice of cork under his compound microscope, and he saw the small box like structure, beehive structure, and these reminded him of the cells of monasteries, and hence named them cell. But what happened was that these cells did not have anything inside them. These were empty cells. Why? Because they were dead, so they did not have any protoplasm in them, right? So what he examined was just empty boxes, okay, or empty walls. There was nothing inside them. So that is why he did not see a whole cell, but he only saw the walls of it. Now, microscope, this is what it looks like. So this ordinary compound microscope has a power to zoom into an object 2000 times. Okay, so it has a power to zoom into any object or any living organism 2000 times. Okay, now this is a really good magnification, but it is not the best. You cannot see the internal very minute, even minute than a cell, the internal organism inside, the internal organelles inside it, right? So on what basis does this work? In this compound microscope, light, 1 minute, let me show you. Yeah, light is thrown this glass lens. Okay, this glass lens, and this glass lens is now used to magnify whatever object is over here. So this is the principle of a compound microscope, the new one, the ordinary compound microscope which we use nowadays. Okay, but earlier, I'm saying earlier, but now we also use electron microscope. They are very heavy. If I tell you, they are very heavy, and you'll find one in a city or two in a city. They are extremely expensive, right? Now they have a different principle. First of all, they magnify 2 lakh times, 2 lakh or 200,000 times a size of an object. Okay, which is a great magnification. As you can see, this type of magnification will let you see even the minutest things. Okay, very far away from your eye. Okay, now what is the principle of this one? The principle is pretty simple. Electron microscope uses beams of electrons. Okay, and now these beams of electrons, they are being bent by the magnets. Let's say these black lines are the magnets, and these are bending the lights of the electron microscope, and now they are getting bent, and these help to magnify the object. So it is something like that. It is pretty easy, and this chapter and has a lot of pages which I'll cover in next part. Thank you. Bye bye.